Okay, phase 2 incoming. Tank swap on 3 stacks. DPS hold until...
Guys, my house is being broken into.
What? Are you serious?
I hear glass breaking downstairs. I'm hiding in my room.
Call 911 right now.
Oh my God, are you safe? Lock your door!
Calling police now. Can hear someone downstairs.
Forget the raid. Everyone, we're stopping until we know Raider 1 is safe.
Should we stay on voice with them, like for safety?
Yes. Raider 1, war here. Police are coming. Just stay quiet and hidden.
Okay, police here. They're checking the house.
Thank God. You're okay?
Yeah, I'm good. False alarm, I think. Maybe just the wind or something.
Jesus, that was terrifying. We're just glad you're safe.
LOL, yeah, my bad. Anyway, can we kill this boss now?
Wait. LOL. You just thought someone was breaking into your house and you're saying LOL?
I mean, it turned out to be nothing, so...
Dude, did you just make that up to get out of a wipe?
Maybe.
You faked a home invasion to avoid responsibility for a raid wipe.
It was funny though, right? You guys totally believed it.
I was about to call the police for you. I had 911 typed into my phone.
But you didn't. So what's the problem?
Get out. You're kicked from the guild. That is unbelievably messed up.
Wow, can't take a joke, I guess.
I don't even know what to say. Who does that?
I was genuinely terrified for them. I feel so manipulated.
Welcome back to MMO Madness Behind the Troll Mask. I'm Boss Mode, and today we're talking about fake emergency trolling, weaponizing human compassion and concern to manipulate, disrupt, or entertain yourself at others' emotional expense. This is trolling that crosses into genuinely dark psychological territory. Let's explore why people do this and the damage it causes. Before we get into the infamous cases, let's define what we're talking about and why this form of trolling is particularly harmful. Fake emergency trolling is when someone fabricates a crisis, medical emergency, a death, a disaster, a crime, family tragedy, to manipulate a gaming community's response. The emergency is entirely fictional, but the emotional reaction is real. This is different from other trolling we've covered because it weaponizes empathy. Most trolling exploits frustration, competitive anger, or annoyance. Fake emergency trolling exploits compassion and concern for human welfare. The varieties of fake emergencies are different. Type 1 is the fake death. The player claims they're dying, dead, or that a family member died. The community mourns, holds memorial services, and creates tributes. Then the dead person shows up alive or someone exposes the lie. Type 2 fake medical emergencies. Sudden claims of a heart attack, stroke, seizures, severe injuries during gameplay. The group stops everything out of concern. Then it turns out to be fabricated. Type 3 is fake crime or danger. Claims of home invasion, assault, stalking, kidnapping happening in real time. The community panics and tries to help. It's fiction. Type 4 is the fake family crisis. Deaths of a family member, house fires, car accidents, hospitalizations. The community offers support and sympathy. It's lies. Type 5 is fake mental health crisis. Claims of suicidal tendencies or self-harm to manipulate people into staying online with them, giving them attention, or doing what they want. What makes this particularly harmful? It weaponizes compassion. Humans are wired to respond to distress signals. When someone says they're in danger, we help. Fake emergency trolling exploits this fundamental human decency. It creates trust damage. After being fooled by a fake emergency, communities become skeptical of real emergencies. The troll poisons the well for people who actually need help. It causes emotional trauma. People genuinely grieve fake deaths. They experience real fear during fake dangers. The emotional investment is authentic, even when the crisis is not. It wastes resources. Some fake emergencies lead to real emergency responses. Police, ambulances, crisis counselors getting involved. Resources are diverted from real emergencies. It's manipulation on a deep level. Other trolling is annoying or frustrating. Fake emergency trolling makes you feel foolish for caring about someone. That's psychologically damaging. The psychology of why people do this. Attention seeking. Faking an emergency guarantees immediate, intense attention. The community rallies around you. For people starved for attention, this is intoxicating. Testing boundaries. Some trolls do this to see if people care about them. Would anyone even notice if I was gone? It's a twisted form of seeking validation. Power and control. Watching a community react to your fabricated crisis gives you enormous power. You're controlling dozens or hundreds of people's emotions with your words. Munchausen by internet. Some people have psychological issues that drive them to fabricate illnesses and crises for sympathy. Gaming communities are just another venue. Disruptive for entertainment. Some trolls just enjoy chaos. Fake emergencies create maximum disruption with minimal effort. And escaping consequences, like our cold open, faking an emergency to get out of a responsibility for a mistake or to dodge criticism. What's particularly insidious is the fake emergency trolling creates a no-win situation for communities. If you don't take the emergency seriously, and it turns out to be real, you've failed someone who needed help. If you do take it seriously and it's fake, you've been manipulated and your compassion has been weaponized. So communities err on the side of believing, which means fake emergency trolls almost always succeed initially. The deception is discovered later, after the emotional manipulation has already worked. It's time to get into some of the stories. These are fake emergency operations that became infamous for their scale, their audacity, or their consequences. Story 1, the WoW Fake Death Memorial. This one is the most famous of the cases. A player in a large World of Warcraft guild claimed to have terminal cancer. For months, they shared updates about their declining health. Treatments and weren't working. Preparing for the end. The guild rallied around them. Members sent real gifts, made real donations to cancer charities in their name. Spent hours keeping them company online during hard days. Then the player announced they died. A family member logged into their account to share the news. The guild was devastated. They held an in-game memorial service. Hundreds of players attended. Screenshots were shared across the server. It was a touching and tragic. Except the player wasn't dead. They'd created the family member character themselves, and a few weeks later they were spotted playing on an alt character. When confronted, they'd claimed needed a fresh start, and faking their death seemed easier than explaining they wanted to leave the guild. They showed zero remorse for the emotional trauma they caused. The guild fell apart not just because of the betrayal, but because people who shared their own real grief and trauma during the illness felt violated. Their genuine vulnerability had been exploited. Some guild members quit WoW entirely. They couldn't trust online relationships anymore. One person who donated hundreds of dollars to cancer research in the fake dead player's name felt like their grief had been weaponized for someone's entertainment. Story number 2, the heart attack raid leader. This is from Final Fantasy. A raid leader in a progression group had a heart attack during a raid. They suddenly stopped responding mid-poll, went silent on voice chat, then after several minutes typed, "I'm okay, the ambulance is here." The raid immediately stopped. The team spent the next hour worried sick, checking back periodically to see if the raid leader would update them. Eventually, a message came. "In hospital, stable, will be gone a few days." The static rearranged schedules to accommodate. They recruited a temporary replacement. They sent well wishes and organized a care package in real life. The raid leader came back a week later with elaborate stories about the ER, tests, the medication changes. The static was supportive and accommodating. This went on for 3 months. Anytime there was criticism of a raid leader's performance or decisions, suddenly there would be chest pains. Can't stress, doctor's order, the health crisis became a shield against accountability. Eventually, someone noticed inconsistencies in the medical details. No real hospital would do X procedure for Y condition. Recovery timeline didn't match the stated diagnosis. The story fell apart under scrutiny. When confronted, the raid leader admitted that they had made everything up to avoid being replaced as the raid leader. They'd felt the static was losing confidence in their leadership, and the fake heart attack was a way to regain sympathy and control. The static disbanded immediately, but worse, one member who had had an actual heart attack the year prior felt their trauma had been appropriated. The fake emergency had turned their real medical history into something that felt cheapened. Story number 3, the 2-year home invasion lie. This one's wild. A player in a guild claimed someone was stalking them, showing up at their house, following them, threatening them. The guild took this seriously. They offered support, advice on getting restraining orders, suggested involving the police. The player claimed they had filed reports. Over 2 years, the stalking continued. Break-in attempts, threatening messages, close calls. The guild remained supportive through it all. But the story kept escalating in ways that didn't make sense. The stalker was somehow always just missing getting caught. Police were somehow never able to help despite dozens of reports. The details kept changing. A guild officer decided to dig deeper. They searched public records. No police reports existed. No restraining orders. Nothing. Confronted with evidence, the player admitted the stalker never existed. They fabricated the entire 2-year crisis because they liked the attention and support from the guild. The guild was furious. People had adjusted their schedules to check in on this person. They'd offered to send money for security systems. They'd lost sleep worrying about someone's safety. The betrayal was so deep that the guild dissolved. Members couldn't trust each other anymore. If someone could lie for 2 years straight, who else might be lying? Story number 4, the fake suicide threat. Content warning. This one involves fake suicide ideation and particularly is dark. The player in a Discord community would regularly post about suicidal thoughts during late night hours. Community members would stay up with them, talk them down, offer resources, and provide support. This happened repeatedly over months, always late night, always when certain people who had shown compassion were online, and always resolved after getting enough attention. Eventually, someone recognized the pattern. The crisis only happened when specific people were available. They never happened during days when the person was actively gaming and having fun. The timing was way too convenient. A mental health professional in the community gently suggested the person seek actual therapy, offering to help find resources. The person became defensive and angry. You don't believe me? Fine, I'll show you. They logged off and went silent for 24 hours. The community was terrified they'd actually gone through with it. People were messaging mutual friends, checking hospitals, genuinely panicking. Then the person came back. See, you do care. It had been a test. They deliberately caused panic to prove people cared about them. The community was traumatized. People who had shared their own struggles with mental health felt betrayed. The person was banned, but the damage was done. Several community members sought therapy afterward because they'd been manipulated using one of the most serious topics possible. One person said they now second guess offering support when people express suicidal ideation, and they hate that. This troll made them less compassionate. Story number 5, the Guild Bank Heist Emergency. This is from Guild Wars 2. A guild officer with bank access claimed their account had been hacked and their personal bank wiped out. They were devastated, didn't know what to do, might quit the game. The guild rallied. Members donated gold and materials to help rebuild. The guild leader gave the officer extra bank access temporarily to help them recover. A week later, the officer withdrew everything from the guild bank and transferred servers. They hadn't been hacked. They fabricated the crisis to gain sympathy and increase bank access and then robbed the guild. This was a fake emergency trolling combined with actual theft. The emotional manipulation enabled the crime. ArenaNet investigated but couldn't prove the original hack claim was fake, just that the officer had stolen from the guild bank later. The officer got banned for theft but kept the gold on an alt. The guild never recovered. The combination of betrayal and financial loss killed the community. Story number 6, the streamer swatting hoax. This one involves fake danger combined with real consequences. A small streamer claimed they were being swatted. Someone had called in a false police report to their address. They went offline suddenly, posted on Twitter about armed police at their door, shared photos of police cars, which were actually from a Google image search of a nearby street. The streaming community rallied around them. Big streamers shared their story. Donations poured in. The swatting awareness conversation reignited. Except it never happened. The streamer had fabricated everything for attention and donations. When called out, they claimed they wanted to raise awareness about swatting. The community turned on them instantly. Swatting is serious. People have died. Faking it for clout and money was unconscionable. The streamer was banned from all platforms and blacklisted in the community. But they poisoned the well. Future streamers reporting actual swatting attempts faced more skepticism because of this fake. Our last story comes from EVE Online, the Dead FC. EVE Online had a fleet commander who was beloved in their alliance. One day, a corps mate announced the FC had died in a car accident, real life dead. The alliance mourned. They held an in-game memorial with hundreds of ships. They created a permanent monument in space. They reached out to the family, the corps mate who announced the death, to offer condolences. Months later, the Dead FC showed up playing EVE under a different name. They had faked their death to escape drama in another alliance and start fresh. The memorial became a monument of betrayal. The alliance felt stupid for mourning. Players who had shared real stories about losing friends or family to car accidents felt like their trauma had been mocked. CCP didn't ban the player because they hadn't technically broken any game rules, but the community never forgave them. They became infamous, blacklisted across EVE. What happens after a fake emergency is exposed? Let's talk about the consequences for the troll, for the community, and for future interactions. For the troll, in most cases, immediate expulsion from the community. Guilds kick them, friend lists drop them, servers blacklist them. The social consequences are severe. Some face platform bans if the fake emergency violated TOS. Impersonation, fraud, manipulation. Streamers lose partnerships. Content creators lose credibility. In extreme cases, legal consequences, fake police reports, and swatting hoaxes can result in charges. Fraud if donations were collected under false pretenses. Defamation if they implicated others, but many trolls just move to a new community and do it again. They create new accounts, join new guilds, and repeat the pattern. The internet's anonymity enables serial fake emergency trolls. Some show zero remorse. They view it as just a prank or social experiment. They don't connect their lies to real emotional harm. Others eventually express regret, usually when facing consequences, but by then the damage is done and the apology rings hollow. Now, for the community, the immediate aftermath is anger and betrayal. People who offer genuine support feel manipulated. Those who shared their own traumas felt exploited. Trust damage is a long-term cost. Communities become skeptical of future emergency claims. Is this real, or is this just another fake? This creates a tragic irony. Fake emergency trolls make it harder for people with real emergencies to get help. The troll poisoned the well. Communities often implement new policies. We support members but require verification for donations, or emergency claims will be taken seriously, but we won't organize group responses without confirmation. These policies help prevent future manipulation but make the community feel more bureaucratic and less warm. The troll has forced the community to become more suspicious. Some communities split. People who were close to the troll defend them or downplay the harm. Others are furious. The division destroys the group. And some communities never recover. The fake emergency becomes a defining trauma that the group can't move past. Members drift away. The community slowly dies. For further interactions, people become more guarded. They don't share personal struggles as freely because they've seen vulnerability weaponized. Real emergencies get less support because of skepticism. Some having an actual crisis might face, "Are you sure this is real?" questioning. The overall warmth of gaming community decreases. Fake emergency trolls teach people that compassion can be exploited, so people become less compassionate. Mental health support becomes harder to offer. After fake suicide threats, people hesitate to engage with real suicide ideation, worried they are being manipulated. This is the lasting damage. Fake emergency trolls make the internet a colder, more suspicious place. They damage not just their immediate victims, but the broader cultural of mutual support. So, how do communities protect themselves without being heartless? How do you balance skepticism with compassion? Let's talk about the red flags and verification strategies. Here are some red flags that suggest fake emergency. Red flag number 1, convenient timing. The emergency happens right when the person faces criticism, consequences, or accountability. Oh no, crisis. Right after being called out is suspicious. Red flag number 2, pattern of crisis. Multiple dramatic emergencies happening to the same person repeatedly. Everyone has bad luck sometimes, but constant crisis warrants skepticism. Red flag number 3, escalation for attention. Each crisis is more dramatic than the last. They're escalating to maintain attention. First, it's a minor injury, then hospital stay, then life-threatening, then multiple life-threatening events. Red flag number 4 is inconsistent details. The story changes. Medical details don't match reality. Timeline doesn't make sense. They contradict themselves when questioned. Red flag number 5, resistance to verification, refusing to provide any verification or becoming defensive when gently asked for confirmation. You don't trust me? As manipulation. Red flag number 6 is attention-seeking behavior around the crisis. They're posting constant updates, fishing for sympathy, making the emergency very public. Real emergencies often involve going quiet, not performing the crisis. Red flag number 7, the emergency resolves too conveniently. The crisis ends exactly when they've gotten enough attention or when skepticism starts building. Never mind, false alarm, after maximum sympathy extraction. Here are the verification strategies that balance compassion with protection. Strategy 1. Believe but verify. Take the emergency seriously in the moment. Don't let someone in actual danger go unhelped, but quietly verify details afterward before organizing group responses. Strategy number 2, offer appropriate resources. Instead of just offering sympathy, offer concrete help. Have you called emergency services? Do you need me to call for you? Real emergencies need real resources. Strategy number 3, private support versus public spectacle. Offer to help privately. If they refuse private help but insist on public drama, that's a red flag. Strategy number 4, require verification for financial support. Never send money or gifts without verification. We want to help. Can you provide documentation so we can organize support appropriately? Strategy number 5, consult quietly. If something feels off, quietly consult with other community members. Does this strike you as odd? Get others' perspectives. Strategy number 6, document patterns. Keep records of claimed emergencies. Patterns become obvious when documented over time. Strategy number 7, professional resources over personal involvement. For mental health crisis, direct people to crisis hotlines and professional resources rather than trying to support yourself. Professionals can help better and verify better. The ethical balance. You want to avoid two bad outcomes. One, ignoring real emergencies because you're too skeptical. And two, being manipulated by fake emergencies because you're too trusting. The answer is compassionate skepticism. Take emergencies seriously enough to prevent immediate harm. Verify before organizing major community responses. Offer professional resources rather than just sympathy. Document patterns without jumping to accusations. Trust but verify, especially before donating money or resources. It's not perfect, but it's better than either extreme. Let's talk about the deeper psychology of fake emergency trolling and why it's one of the most ethical, indefensible forms of trolling. Most trolling we've covered exploits frustration or annoyance. It's obnoxious but doesn't cut deep. Fake emergency trolling is different because it exploits compassion, one of humanity's best traits. When you grief someone in PvP, you're exploiting their desire to win. When you fake an emergency, you're exploiting their desire to help people in distress. One is annoying, but the other is perverse. The psychology profile of fake emergency trolls often include narcissistic traits, need for attention and admiration. The emergency makes them the center of attention. Lack of empathy, inability to understand or care about the emotional harm they're causing others. Manipulation skills. They're often good at reading people and knowing what buttons to push. Validation seeking. Deep insecurity driving them to test if people care about them through manufactured crises. Munchausen pattern, psychological need to play the sick victim role for sympathy. This isn't casual trolling. This is often behavior driven by deeper psychological issues. That doesn't excuse it, but it does explain why trolls are often repeat offenders who don't learn. The ethics are clear. Fake emergency trolling is wrong. Full stop. It's wrong because it weaponizes compassion. You're punishing people for caring. That's fundamentally perverse. It causes real trauma. People experience real grief over fake deaths, real fear over fake dangers. The emotions are authentic, even when the crisis isn't. It wastes resources. Real emergencies get fewer resources when fake ones drain community energy and sometimes actual emergency services. It poisons trust. Future people with real emergencies face skepticism because of past fakes. It's manipulative at the deepest level. Other trolling annoys you. This trolling makes you feel stupid for being a good person. There's no just a prank, bro defense here. No, you're too sensitive. Rationalization. Fake emergency trolling is indefensible. Some people try to justify it. I was just testing if people actually cared. That's manipulation, not a valid test. It was just online, not real. The emotions were real. The harm was real. People should just be more skeptical. People should be able to be compassionate without punishment. I just needed attention. Get therapy. Don't manipulate communities. None of these justifications work. If you're faking emergencies for any reason, you're causing harm and you need to stop. Fake emergency trolling weaponizes one of humanity's best traits, our instinct to help people in distress. That makes it one of the most psychologically damaging forms of trolling we've covered. If you faked an emergency, understand the harm you've caused. People's genuine compassion was exploited. Their trust was betrayed. Their emotional investment was weaponized for your entertainment or attention. That's not trolling. That's psychological manipulation. If your community has been fooled by fake emergencies, know that your compassion wasn't weakness. Being willing to help people who claim distress is a good trait. The troll's betrayal doesn't mean you should become less caring, just more careful. The internet should be a place where people can ask for help and receive it. Fake emergency trolls poisons that well for everyone. They make real crisis harder to address and communities colder. That's their lasting damage. Next week on MMO Madness Behind the Troll Mask, we're diving into the parent excuse, when real life becomes your shield, using real life as cover for bad gameplay or trolling. You definitely don't want to miss it. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and support the podcast. And if you've witnessed fake emergency trolling, email us at podcast@mmomadness.com. Until then, be compassionate but careful. Verify before donating, and remember, real emergencies deserve help. Fake ones deserve consequences. I'm Boss Mode, and thanks for listening.